All right, guys, we are back. This is the eSports Report Daily Update. Today, it's Monday, a beautiful Monday, St. Patty's Day, and neither of us are wearing green, Ben.
I was, you know...
We suck at this holiday.
Yeah, it's not gone well,
yeah.
really, has it?
Sorry about that, Mom.
My bad.
Don't pinch me. All right, guys, we're going into the next portion, and so far, we've told you that StarCraft, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Call of Duty Ghost will be at the Anaheim Pro Circuit event. Call of Duty is going to have 2 separate tournaments, our Season 2 playoffs, as well as bringing in some teams from Gfinity League, competing for 70 grand and a 10,000 more open play-in tournament, which will help find the teams for Season 3. We'll go into more details on both of those in a bit, but first we're catching you up of exactly the details of Season 2. We've showed you the calendar. Here it is one more time. Season 2 is going to expand from 10 teams to 12. 2 more will come from that April 5th play-in tournament. On April 15th, rosters will be submitted for all starting lineups. And then on April 17th, the 4-man rosters will add 4 more players to their team through an amateur draft. Ben, how is this amateur draft going to work?
This is something that I'm probably the most excited for, so definitely make sure you mark April 17th in your calendars for the amateur draft. First of all, it's going to be live, first of all, so that's going to be absolutely awesome. And league teams are going to draft 4 extra players. Now, if you're sat there thinking, well, you know, I'm a free agent right now, you know, I've got a lot of pro points. Well, the top 150 in pro points as of April 8th, that's where you're going to have to be if you're going to have a chance of being drafted. And the draft order is going to be lowest to highest seed, and mid-season free agency and player movement details, well, they're going to come a little bit later on. We need to just make sure we have everything locked down on those. But
yeah, still working out some exact dates. But the draft order, we should kind of clarify this. This is not like your fantasy football draft, guys, where you do a snake draft that goes all the way from 12 down to 1, and then 1 goes again back up to 12. No, this is going to be just like the NFL actual draft, where it's the lowest seed picking first, going all the way down to the best seed, resets for the next round, and we'll do that 4 times. But everyone's asking, well, where do the teams that come from the play-in tournament, where do they come in the seeding order? They're actually going to be 11th and 12th. So we'll be able to seed those squads. And Ben, let me ask you real quick, if you are one of the teams looking for amateur players to add as substitutes on your starting lineup, what big name AMs would you go after?
Oh, that's tough. I've heard that a couple of players, I'm not going to name any names, but they're sort of, you know, thinking about, you know, their future, and they're thinking, well, maybe, you know, free agency, you know, coming up to the fantasy draft could be a good thing. But one thing's for sure, you're going to see all those pro teams now really starting to look at the pro point system and really think, all right, well, which one of these players can I potentially draft? And then that's where you have to start thinking, just as the NFL draft comes in, you know, all right, well, where are we going to be seeded? What's going to be our draft pick? Are we going to be able to get this player? Because you have to think, you know, reasonable.
Right.
You're not going to be able to always draft the best player in terms of free agency, but I'm really, really excited. So I started playing a lot of Madden recently, so we have the draft.
So you're learning about us Americans.
I'm learning.
I like it. Well, we are in America. That's how the draft is going to work. I'm thinking, you know, we're going to see teams like Xfinity and possibly Rise go through that play-in tournament. But if not, definitely go after any of those 8 players after seeing what they can do at the U.S. Championship. Some other squads out there. Lots of talented guys. We saw a number of pickup teams actually go through this latest Pro Points tournament. In fact, Methods and some of the guys that were too young for COD Champs, some of the biggest names to look out for, especially Spacely. Spacely was that one guy who wasn't on a starting lineup in our current COD League that I figured, why not? He's one of the best out there.
Definitely.
Someone to pick up. Well, let's go into the next portion here of the calendar and walk you guys through how this actual playoffs is going to work. So the regular season will have 44 matches being played by every single team. In those 44 matches, all of them will be broadcast on MLG.TV. You and I, as well as some of the other casters from around the world, will be picking highlight matches to feature, kind of like Monday Night Football as well. So pretty cool stuff there. But then it's the playoff bracket, and let's talk about these Season 2 teams. The top 8 from Season 2 are going to advance into the playoff bracket in Anaheim. Walk me through this one.
So it's going to be a 10-team double elimination bracket. You've got the top 8 from League Season 2 They're going to be in there, as well as the top 2 from the Gfinity leagues as well. And that's the part I'm really, really excited for, seeing what European talent can come across and really try and cause a bit of a stir here at MLG. $70,000 prize pool, and as always, it's going to be broadcast on MLG.tv.
So good stuff there in the playoff bracket. Can't wait to see how the European teams stack up, but let's see what they're playing for. Of that $70,000, it's a little bit top-heavy. Everyone is getting paid out here who has made it to the playoff tournament. We should point that out first, but let's pull up the prize pool as we take a look. There's going to be 2 separate brackets here in the double elimination. That's going to guarantee that we have a fresh start heading into the grand finals. Now, for the prize pool, we're going to pay out $25,000 to first place. Second place is going to take home 8. So it's all about that finals. Go big or go home. You're already guaranteed a spot in Season 3. So it's really about who is the champion, who is the best in the world at the end of Season 2. But going down the line, third place, we'll have 2 third-place teams finishing there in $6,000 each. Fifth place, the team that goes out the round before, will take home $5,000. $4,000 for the 2 teams that tie in 7th. And as we talked about, everyone's getting paid here, so 9th place will be making $3,500.
That's pretty good.
You know,
I'm alive.
At minimum, you're going to earn your money back for the travel. You know, it's going to be solid there, but so much potential to go for that $25,000 first place prize. So that's what's happening amongst the pro teams, the teams that everyone's been watching and keeping an eye on in the MLG COD League. But let's talk a little bit about all the other teams and what they're going to be doing in that play-in tournament. Of course, you cannot get into Season 2 if you don't advance through the first Season 2 play-in. That's the online tournament. You can make it into Season 3 if you do well in the Anaheim Season 3 play-in tournament. The I guess, replacement of the open bracket.
Yeah, and as you can see on your screens, 192 team double elimination bracket, including the bottom 4 Season 2 teams. So if you start reading, oh, well, what does that exactly mean? That means from Season 2, the bottom 4 teams of that league are going to actually go down into Season 3 playing tournament at Anaheim. There's going to be a $10,000 independent prize pool. Top 4 teams will secure their spots for Season 3, and as always, broadcast on MLG.tv throughout the weekend.
Now, why is this play-in tournament awesome for amateurs? Because we had a lot of misconceptions, a lot of rumors that were being created this week and spread around that were totally untrue and really didn't focus on some of the positives of the system.
So for me, it's a bit about the bigger picture of this play-in, because you could argue, oh, okay, yeah, you're only playing for 10,000, a lot less than some of the other teams, but if you get in the top 4, that's what you got to do. The top 4 of that play-in, you then have a whole extra season. That's 44 extra matches all on MLG.tv. You get the whole works, and you're guaranteed to be in the playoff bracket come the next event. I mean, that's just awesome.
Now, a lot of people out there are also tweeting me asking, if I get picked up through this amateur draft, can I still play in the play-in tournament for Season 3 to have my own team? Yes, you can. So if you are a player out there who is the captain of his team, unfortunately, you don't make it into Season 2, you can bring your whole team to play in at Anaheim. The substitutes, remember, it's only starting lineups come Anaheim. So the substitutes will be in that bracket most likely. A lot of teams to look out for in this one. $10,000 guaranteed, though, and you don't have to go up against the juggernauts like Complexity, Envy, Optic, and more. Yeah,
that's the big thing.
Now, a lot of people out there, they were saying, well, why don't I get a chance to go play those teams that are on the main stage? You do.
You do. You get more of a chance. I mean, you know, in the old kind of system, you'd play against them once. If you win, amazing. But more than not, as we've seen, you lose and you get knocked down to loser bracket. But if you manage to, advance to the top 4, you play them for like 44 matches. Each team plays 44 matches across the season. Like, you can ask to play a pro team more than that. I mean, that's for real.
All right, guys, so there's the information. We hope we cleared up a lot of rumors for you out there. Now, another major question that we've been asked, is it time to just go straight into frequently asked questions?
I think we should just dive straight into the FAQs.
No, my producer is saying you forgot the prize breakdown.
I didn't.
I forgot the prize breakdown. Let's go to the Season 3 play-in. This is the Anaheim play-in tournament for Season 3. Top 4, of course, will secure their spots in Season 3. The prize breakdown, first place is going to get $3,500, 27% going to that second place at $2,700, $2,100 to third and fourth place going home with $1,700. So all the teams making some decent money, at least $400. So we're going into this Season 3 playoffs. Are there any squads, any players that you think we should look out for? Is it too early to say?
Definitely too early to say, because as you said, after Call of Duty Championships, I'm expecting a couple of
Whirlwind
implosions, maybe a couple of days like we had past couple of months where everything just changed and it was changed the world and just some scary stuff. So I think it's too early to say right now, but the important thing to note isn't just the money from that playing, it's also the fact that you are in the next season, which is the huge thing.
Absolutely. So Season 3 is the key for all those players. Let's go into some of the most frequently asked questions. The first one, of course, is it going to be on Xbox 360 or is it going to be on Xbox One? Will it be PlayStation, PlayStation 4? Have a feeling we're sticking with the Xbox here. But the question is it 360 or is it Xbox One? The issue we have right now is it was so difficult to get 4 stations to have Xbox One at the U.S. Championships. There's limited number of profiles. Yeah. LAN was put in for us, but it took a little bit to get there. But I really think the profile system is going to be the most difficult. That's the issue that we needed to solve. There's a few others out there as well. So the team is going to be working on it. We don't have an official answer quite yet. I'm sure we'll be working with Activision and Microsoft to figure this one out. So we appreciate your patience. Sorry, guys, we don't have an official answer, but I did want to come out and say that that is something that we are still talking about internally. We're not hiding any secrets at this point.
It's very, very tough. I mean, I believe even UGC this past weekend, they were saying how they were having a couple of issues with the putting profiles on, etc., etc. It's very, very tough. But as you said, everyone's working really hard, and hopefully we'll have that sorted out soon.
Now, talk to me a little bit about some of the other frequently asked questions, because I know you've been combing through Reddit, coming through Twitter. You made a thread this morning that got all kinds of responses.
Yeah, so after this past weekend, we saw a lot of replies coming in, and just a little bit of misinformation that had been kind of spread around. It's word of mouth and how it spreads. What's it called? Chinese whispers? Is that?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Chinese whispers, where just stuff changes a little bit. So I made a thread on Reddit this morning, and I was just curious to find out some of the questions that you guys actually had, and how me and Puckett could try and answer them a little bit more in detail. And we actually have our top 5 questions from that Reddit thread, and hopefully they'll appear on the screen, because I have completely forgotten each and every one of them.
Oh, come on. You got to know a few good ones off the top of your head.
No, I'm good. You were the one that wrote them down.
I did. Okay. Well, here
it is,
they're
on the screen. There you go. Right, so this was the first question. I remember this one now more in depth. It's good. David Murray, St. Patrick's Day. Got the look of the Irish on my side.
Yep.
It's now we won't see any underdog success stories. Now, what that means in more detail was, sometimes you'll see those teams from the open bracket come through, play some of the top teams, take them down, and all of a sudden everyone sat at the screen going, oh my god, this is insane. Who are these guys? What are they doing? We saw a little bit with the E-Girl Slayers. Shout out to Revan, of course. What an epic name that was.
Yeah, Justice did this back at Columbus as well.
Exactly that. But technically that's not true, because you are going to see those success stories, and in actual fact, you're going to see them on a much bigger scale. You finish in the top 4 of that playing bracket, your name is going to be excelled across the whole community. It's going to be ridiculous. You're going to be playing against the top teams every single week. Plus, then you have the chance to prove yourself at LAN at the next major event. So realistically, those underdog stories are going to be excelled to the next level. So if you're sat as maybe an amateur player thinking, oh well, I really want to play against some of the top teams, this is your perfect chance to do so.
And I think Strictly Business is a good demonstration of that. They were invited into the MLG COD Season 1 for our Call of Duty League. They excelled in it, played pretty darn well. People became familiar with them, were watching them on the stream, and then come U.S. Championships, all the casters still had them going down because they're playing against very strong top-seeded teams. But we knew what we could expect from them, and they showed that they can prove it on LAN. So I think that is a great case of underdog stories coming through and still shining through. Let's go to our next frequently asked question here.
Yes, so the next frequently asked question, as you can see on your screen, with everything being league-based, how important are pro points going to be? And just to give you a little bit more context to that question, the question is obviously, with the league seasons now coming in, is there really a need for players to play in the 2Ks, the 5Ks? I mean, why are the pro points so important? I remember I read this question, I was thinking, that's a good question, but then I remembered, as you brought up before, that's how we use for the seeding.
Yeah, so all of the players competing through that play-in bracket seeded by pro points.
Exactly that.
Not only the online Season 2, but also at the live event. So pro points still extremely important. Also, if we do another amateur draft, which I assume we will after Season 2 is over,
definitely,
you have to be in the top 150 to get picked up by one of the top squads.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that you're going to want to carry on grinding out as many 5Ks, 2Ks, GBs, as many pro points you can possibly get. They're definitely going to be the crucial aspect, I would say. But the next question from the top 5 frequently asked questions on your screen now. How will streaming set up with the new tournaments? Is it going to be just, everyone focusing on the playoffs, or are we going to see the play-ins? We're going to have both streams. Everything is going to be streamed.
Absolutely, and this was kind of an internal argument looking at the Columbus numbers.
Yes.
How much focus do we want to put on the open bracket? Well, that is now the Season 3 play-in bracket. Everyone unanimously said in that meeting, we have to find the new upstarts, the new superstars coming through that amateur scene. This is going to be the perfect place. We have 3 full days to feature them, put the full focus on them, and highlight these squads. And we'll still be putting the best casters in the world on that stream. So we will still have our main stage, which is going to feature the majority of all of our playoff bracket matches, but we'll have potentially an opportunity for some teams to make it from the amateur scene to that main stage, and if not, we still will be shining very bright lights on them all weekend long on that play-in bracket stream.
Yeah, that's going to be the key thing. You're going to see all the action throughout the weekend, so you don't need to worry about any of that. As for the next question in the FAQ, that will be appearing on your screen now. What if a pro player who is currently in FA wanted to play in the league? We kind of touched on this a little bit earlier on, but we may as well go into it a little bit more depth. This is maybe referring a little bit towards Killer, and it's something that we were
And we should
suggesting.
clear this up first. Now, Killer may have been released, something may have gone down, but officially for what we're considering as MLG COD Season 1, he's still a part of Curse Las Vegas. He could still get to this PAX event and play with Curse Las Vegas if they choose to do so. The rosters are locked until the end of that PAX event. April 14th will start new, and he can be officially released. So whatever rumors are going on, and even what's happening internally with the organizations, the ruling on our side is still there locked in. But in the case that Killa doesn't want to play with Curse Las Vegas or can't play with Curse Las Vegas coming into Season 2, how would he as a free agent participate in the league?
So we have obviously the play-in, again, which we were talking about a little bit earlier on, if you can remember, right at the start of the show. There's going to be the online play-in, and that's where Killer could pick anyone he wants, really, and he could go into that and try and get into the next season. It really is that simple. But as you said, for now, he's still officially a part of KSLV.
And if he doesn't get in through that play-in, if you guys are in similar shoes, you can also still get picked up if you're in the top 150 as one of the substitutes for Season 2. And if not, you can always come up to Anaheim and compete in that Season 3 play-in to get into the next season.
Yep. So that's going to sum up that question. I think we have a couple more left. There's one on your screen. So what are the benefits for amateur teams in particular? This is going to be the last question. Again, we touched on it briefly, but I think we should probably take some time and go a little bit more in depth on this question, because it's something which is going to be so crucial. A lot of people, the majority of the scene are those amateur players. Those players that desperately want to try make a name for themselves, really become a pro level. So in terms of the benefits for them, it's really something that I don't think we've ever really been able to offer any team ever.
Now, Columbus was kind of a little bit fluky for us, and we've seen a few other teams do this back in the Black Ops 2 days. But coming all the way from what was formerly the open bracket and finishing in the championship bracket money was something we rarely saw. Justice was a key example of that actually occurring at Columbus. But now they're competing for a guaranteed $10,000 prize pool. And they have the opportunity to make it into another season where they can make streaming revenue. Of course, live streaming as you're each given a channel, each team does on MLG.TV, and then, of course, they'll be able to compete in the playoffs if they make it there for Season 3. So that's some of the big monetary perks to being an AM team trying to play through this new system. But we talked really about the spotlight, and I think that's what everyone is worried about is, how do I get known? How do I get my name out there?
What better way?
We're going to give you your own dedicated stream. We'll give you a channel if you make it into the next season. And, of course, you'll get a chance to dethrone some of the top squads on a week-to-week basis as you play them in the next season.
Yeah, so that sort of concern of, I'm not going to get to play any of the pro teams, not strictly true. You can play them every single week, 44 matches worth, and that's a lot of matches, really, when you think about it. 44 matches in that season. I mean, you can really cause some massive upsets, and how'd you get your name out there? You beat the top teams. What better chance?
Absolutely. Guys, we're going to another commercial break. Keep sending us your tweets. I'm at MLG Puckett. He is at Benson_EU. Let us know what questions you have remaining on this. Hopefully we've cleared up everything that you guys are wondering. We'll answer a few more questions. And not only that, Benson, what do we have coming up after this? Some of the best videos from all of the U.S. Championship.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be insane. It's my top 5 closest games from the U.S. Championship. And we're going to go the whole thing. You're not going to miss any of the action. They were some of the best games that I've ever seen in competitive Call of Duty, and you're going to see them all right after the break.
Be right back.